Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Aparna Mishra. Welcomes you all to another session of WS Life Talks. This May month is celebrated as the Mental Health Awareness Month. So we've been publishing various stories and articles and experiences on mental health awareness. So we have done a couple of live shows as well with the authors who have written those articles. So today, in that same line, we have another guest with us. She is Shruti Shandilya. Shruti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, thank you so much. In fact, during these mental health awareness articles, we came across so many topics and they were very touching. So basically, today we are talking about the COVID scenario which happened, which really impacted many of us. We lost our loved ones. So, yeah, this is what we'll talk about how we have to, how we have come through all those things, the tragedies and all. Again, we have to bounce back, and because we have to live, we have to enjoy each and every part of life. So yes, that's part of the way. And today we'll talk with Shruti. So Shruti, the first question will be, I'm not going into serious things right now. I just want to know your post COVID, pre COVID, in fact, your journey pre COVID. How was it? What were you doing? Where you were? Just tell me more
Sure,
about that.
sure. So basically, I did my college from Delhi and then I went to the UK. I did my MBA. I came back and I worked with Tata Realty Infrastructure Limited and I was handling the marketing for the commercial projects. And me and my
Okay.
husband, we were really living the dream, in Bombay and everything was going fine. And then COVID struck and we were under lockdown for 1 year. Fortunately, that time my parents were with me in Bombay, and so I think 2021 Feb, I got my parents back because Bombay houses are kind of small and they were really
Yeah.
losing their mind staying there. So I
Right.
got them back, and that was in the month of March and April. Both of them they were COVID positive. So, and that's when, everything just spiraled out of control for me.
Hmm. So you were with Tata Infrastructure, right?
Right.
You were into marketing. So what kind of role was that? How you were enjoying your work in Mumbai, and what you were doing? Because marketing is such a vast, area. So what was it?
Right.
I really want to know about your pre-COVID journey.
Sure. So, under the umbrella of Tata, there were two companies which were sort of coexisting. One was Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited, and the other
Mm.
one was Tata Housing. So, for Tata Realty and Infrastructure, we were more into commercial projects, and we were more into infrastructure projects like roads and railways, etc. And also some mixed-use projects where it was like a township with commercial and residential. So I set up the entire marketing for Tata Realty Infrastructure Limited. So right from the branding, to extending that across, like the communication aspect, digital aspect, marketing in like BTL, ATL. So all of that I was looking
Wow,
after.
amazing.
And then later in 2017, the companies were merged because it made sense, right? Two companies existing in
Yeah,
the same space under
yeah.
the same umbrella. So then when they were merged, then I was given the portfolio of commercial marketing. So all the commercial
Okay.
offices under, Tata's. And again, it was a very interesting journey because, the branding, of a project, like what's the name, what name should the project have? And how the different verticals under that, like if it's a pure IT project, if it is a mixed use project, or it's a pure commercial project. So it was a very interesting journey. I learned a lot. And of course, working with a company like Tata's, it just opens your, like,
Yes,
your mind and your, yeah, it's just a very
absolutely.
different experience working with Tata's. They really care about their employees, and it's just
Yeah.
not on paper. They actually do a lot of things for their employees. I
No,
have
no,
got
that's
so
really
much
true.
support
Yeah.
from, yeah, the company. It's just phenomenal. And also, I think somewhere because I lived in that bubble for so long, coming back to Lucknow, that transition was also very difficult, because you're used to working in a
Yes.
very honest way, and
Yeah.
everything has to be like, done in a structured manner. And then suddenly you come to Lucknow and you're like, there's no concept of timelines, right? Like even if you're invited for dinner or lunch somewhere, we would be like really prompt. But I mean, but anyhow, it's not like I'm trying to like put Lucknow down. I love Lucknow, but it's just that it was a little difficult transition, and of course, any transition has its challenges.
तो आई गेट योर पॉइंट दिस सिटी यहाँ की ये हवा में ही थोड़ी सी नज़ाकत है, तो हम हर काम बहुत धीरे धीरे करते हैं, तो दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम. इनफैक्ट सीइंग, इनफैक्ट नाउ इफ यू टॉक अबाउट मे बी द सिनेरियो इज चेंज्ड नाउ अ लॉट, because see, because of the inflow of corporates in Lucknow right now, there's so many corporates which are here in Lucknow, very leading corporates. So now the scenario is changing. Now we are no more called laid back attitude, but yes, थोड़ा बहुत तो कहीं ना कहीं रह ही जाता है चीजें. Even if you try to change yourself into different work, like if you match yourself with other cities where the corporate culture is actually amazing, but yes, we are actually behind those. Of course, I fully agree with this. We are much behind those cities where the corporate culture is actually very professional. So yes, that
Yeah.
is a thing over here. So yes, we need to improvise on this, and you need to change the
Yes.
attitude of people over here. But yes, the
No, so
place where you
Aparna, I'll
can.
just add to your point. When you are not living in UP and you're living elsewhere, the whole perception is that, oh my God, UP is very dangerous, right? So, like when we were in Bombay and anyone would ask where you're from, and I would say I'm essentially from UP, but I've not lived too many years in UP. So everyone is like, oh my God, like, UP, like, how do you all travel and you go out and all of that? So, and I've been away from UP for so long, but when I came back to Lucknow, I realized it's a very safe city, you know,
Yes, it is.
and that
Yes.
is something which, there's a weird perception, there's a preconceived notion people have about UP, but it's absolutely safe. It's a it has a beautiful mix of a metro and yet like a small town. So, the children still have innocence in them, and I just love a lot of things about Lucknow. And I think the government is also trying a lot, in terms of safety aspects and all of the other things, which, of course, for another discussion. Yes.
No, there is so much of warmth in the city. The people over here, they're not very, they're not type kind of thing. कहते नहीं मतलबी kind. We are not like that. It's a very, people are full of warmth over here. They'll meet you with so much of warmth here. And like जैसे बताया कि like कहाँ है यूपी, that ways. When I was in, I think somewhere around 1998, 99, when I had taken a transfer and I was working with TY, I moved to Delhi. So people asked me from where you are. So I said Lucknow. So Lucknow was a question mark. They haven't heard of Lucknow that point of time. Now, yes, it is there on the map actually. But then, long time back, many years back, it was they were not even they haven't even heard of Lucknow. So yes, but this is a very nice city. बहुत अच्छी सिटी है, इसमें मतलब मजा आता है. I really love this. I'm a Lucknowite, in fact. I really love this city a lot. Yes. So
So,
yes. So moving
Aparna,
from
your voice is no, I'm not able to hear you very well. It's all breaking. Sorry.
okay, now how it is? It's fine now.
It's frozen. Like the screen is frozen. I don't know if it's with my network or
But
is it
I can,
yours?
I think, I don't know, because here I can see you pretty well. I can hear your voice, and it's not frozen. The screen is not frozen.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So I'll try and listen to it more carefully. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, coming from that part of city wherein so much of professionalism, everything was so good. You were working with the Tata Group, and then this thing came, which was very unpredictable. No one had even imagined that this could kind of thing happen, right? The COVID thing. So, what all happened? Can you just share about that? Because the topic which you have written, the article, it was Beacon of Light, right? So, would like to know your actually the transition from that city to this city, and what all things you have undergone, and how you are out of it now. Can you hear me? Hello.
Sorry, I can you
Can you
repeat the
hear me?
question? I just couldn't. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you, like before pre-COVID, you were in Bombay, you were having a corporate life, everything was very good, the city, every the atmosphere, of course, the Tata Group and all, right? Then you came, this COVID happened, and you had to come to Lucknow. So, want to know because you have written this article on Beacon of Hope, which is really very touching article which you have written. So, really want to know how you went through all the circumstances which were beyond control, and then you are trying to come out of it, right? Just want to understand how you came out of it, because that was something very difficult phase which you went through.
Sure. So, Aparna, like I told you that in 2021, I got my parents back from Bombay. They were with me for a year. They were basically stuck in Bombay with me, and so I got them back. And that was, again the whole second wave started, and unfortunately, this was a Delta variant, and it was very contagious and it was very lethal. So I was working from home in Lucknow, and my parents were in Noida that time. So
Okay.
I got a call from my father that my mother is unwell, and she's like, we got her tests and everything done, but it just so happened that she got COVID, and I rushed to Delhi, and she was admitted in the hospital because her oxygen levels really went down, and that's just the beginning. After that, my father also had the same symptoms. We got him in another hospital. So both my parents were in different hospitals. I had to leave my daughter here in Lucknow at that time, and my in-laws were taking care of her. And I was running from one hospital to another, mom, dad, and they were there in the ICU for a very long time. And I think, once my dad tested negative for COVID, we were allowed to visit him. And I just like in 10 days, I saw like he'd just become a shadow of himself. He'd lost a lot of weight. So I still carry a lot of nightmares from those hospital, visits.
Must be.
And then 15 days he tried to pull on, and then, he succumbed to COVID. And my mother was in the other hospital, and we couldn't tell her about the situation with my father because she was really holding on to the hope that she's going to get fine and then she'll go back to her normal life,
Hmm.
after the hospital treatment. But unfortunately, all this happened, we could not share it with anyone because of COVID restrictions. No one could come to us. We could not even do a proper funeral for him. And there were so many things. There's so many layers to it. Like we would we couldn't cry really that time because we had to go to mom's hospital and we had to show like a nice front to her, and she would continuously ask us how like dad was doing, and we had to just smile and keep saying that he's fine, although we just like bid him goodbye, final goodbye in the morning. And that continued for a very long time, Aparna. So somewhere, we started like creating these pockets, of unresolved grief, and we started holding them back in ourselves. And we started putting a lid on so many things. Like, we learned to block a lot of things. And you won't believe, like, for 6 months, I did not see my daughter, who was 4 years old that time. So for 6 months, can you imagine, like a child, she doesn't get to see her parents for 6 months. My brother had, of course, flown down from the US, and he was a big support, and my husband was a big support. But somewhere we did not get the outlet to grieve the way we normally do, with people around, crying, doing the right things. And these rituals have a way of, sort of helping you heal, right? Like when someone
Yeah.
passes on, we have so
Yeah.
many rituals in our traditional format. They help you to heal, but we didn't
Right.
get that also.
Oh.
So when my mom came out of the hospital and she got to know about the situation with my dad, it just was again, reopening the same wound on having to go through every detail with her. And I had to again put a brave front in front of her. And she was doing the same, putting up a brave front for us also.
Yeah.
So we really didn't know where to place so much grief at that time. And that one year, I thought I'm going to lose my mind, to be honest with you. I just left
Okay.
my job, like, I just said because I knew that I had to take care of my mom. So when you're working, there is a sense of purpose, and it just gives you that discipline. So, of course, I didn't have that. But I started realizing that I'm under depression. I was like a walking zombie, like a
Oh,
living zombie. I would just go on from one day to another without any like concrete plan or anything. There was no reason to get out of bed sometimes. I would just stay in the bed. And I couldn't sleep. Like almost 7 months after the whole thing, at
oh
night
my
time
God.
was the worst time for me, because you are trying to put all these negative things aside and you're just focusing on getting the medicine for mom, getting the oxygen cylinder, having the
Mm.
concentrator. There were so many things during the day, but at
Yeah,
night, uh, it used to just wash over me. And I used to cry. I used to, like, it was terrible,
tough period.
guilt, when there is your grief is mixed with
Yeah.
guilt, that is the
Mm.
worst. I started feeling so guilty, Aparna. I thought that why did I get my parents from Bombay? That I'm responsible,
Oh.
for all this. Why did I, send my dad to the hospital? Maybe if he had stayed home, he could have recovered, you know. So I
Mm.
went through so many ifs and buts in my head that
Yeah.
I just, I just was very unfocused. But somewhere I feel that, a mother, she has so much strength that she's dealing with her own grief and depression and all of that, but she still looks out for her children. My
Mm.
mother pushed me in the direction of meditation. She told me
Okay.
consult a therapist.
Sweet of her.
Yeah. And Aparna, in India, there is this taboo, there is the stigma attached to consulting a, therapist. People think that, you, tum pagal hoge, tabhi you're going to a
I know
therapist,
this is
that kind of a
actual,
thing.
yeah, the mental block basically for the people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Mm.
my mom, she's very evolved in that sense. So she really got me into all that. I started yoga, I started meditation, and I started
Okay.
speaking to someone with the right expertise who could really try and get me out of this and,
Okay.
give a closure to a lot of feelings which I was holding. So, yeah, that is the whole, uh,
My God. I
aspect
think
of,
your
yeah.
mom was the main support, the support behind you. Therefore, like, she pushed you to do so many things so that you just come out of it, right?
My mother, yes, I actually moved to Lucknow because I had to take care of her.
Yeah, yeah.
She was still on oxygen support, till this year. So
Okay.
till 1 year later, she was on oxygen support continuously. So now I was alone that time again with mom. And I imagine, like, having lost one parent and you're walking on eggshells around, like, that you're not doing anything wrong. So, yes, it's
Mm.
a lot of things, many layers which started adding. But yes, my mom has been phenomenal support.
Yeah.
And there is a
That's true.
reason why mothers or parents are the way they are, in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, how is Shruti now?
Sorry?
How is Shruti now? Is she,
She's much better. Yes, she's
okay?
definitely touch wood. She's much better,
Yeah.
and she's a very strong lady. She's worked on
Good.
her own, lungs because her lungs were 90% compromised. But she worked on it through pranayam and yoga, very extensive yoga she did for 1 year, and now she's completely weaned off concentrator. And yes, she's definitely much better now. She goes to the US also now. She travels.
Oh, lovely,
So, she goes to
lovely.
see my brother. So yes, touch wood, she's good. Yeah.
So how this once you left your job, right, during that period, you left your job during that period. So now what are you doing? How you keeping yourself busy and
Yeah.
distracting yourself with all those things which happened?
Yeah. So when I moved to Lucknow and with my mom that time, I realized that I needed to do something with myself.
Mhm.
Of course, with so many years of good education and like so much working, I had to do something for myself. And I was always inclined towards gardening because I saw my
Okay.
parents very passionate about gardening, and I was also like consuming all organic products in Bombay. So
Okay.
when I came here, I used to go online, look for products, which were
Acha.
organic. And
Okay.
my mother-in-law and father-in-law used to find it very funny that, when we have so many farms, why was I
Yeah.
not consuming product from our farms and going and buying from outside?
Yeah.
I think that was the pivotal point in my life, and I realized that I should transition our existing farms from conventional
Yeah.
farming practices to organic farming practices. And I think, gardening also is very therapeutic. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like a form of
Absolutely. Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely. Yes.
yes. So I researched, I studied again. I did a lot of I consulted the Indo-Israel Center of Excellence. I did a lot
Okay.
of groundwork, and I just dived in and just started. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So you're growing vegetables on your in your farms. Like what all things you're doing with Tirwa Farms?
yeah. So the philosophy we work on is that we don't use any chemicals, no fertilizers,
Okay.
no pesticides, no preservatives. So absolutely chemical free, 100% natural products we do. So what
Mm-hmm.
we have three verticals we work under. One is apiculture, where we do bee farming, and second is where we do a lot of seasonal vegetables or fruits. And the shelf life is definitely lower, and the market right
Yeah.
now in Lucknow is still not that evolved. So we are working on educating people as well as we're going
Okay.
along. The third is we have invested in a distillery in Kannauj, and we
Okay.
do rose water and a little perfume called oud. So that's the bark
Okay.
of the heartwood tree. We just distill that.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Okay.
process. So we try these. We've diversified our
Yeah.
product line, and it's being very well received in Lucknow.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we try to add value to our products also. So for instance, we did raw tomato. We had tomatoes, organically grown tomatoes. Now for me to get them from Tirwa to Lucknow, first of all the transportation cost, and the organic,
Yeah.
because organic farm products are more expensive, it's labor
Yeah.
intensive.
Yeah.
So no one was buying expensive tomatoes. So I had this recipe from my mother-in-law. She's from Nepal. So the recipe is in the family for many, many years, many, many generations, sorry. And we made raw tomato pickle. So
Okay.
similarly, like for basil, we do pesto sauce, and
Okay.
we try
Okay.
to add value and increase the shelf life. Sorry, you're saying something?
No, no. I'm saying interesting. It's really
Yes, of course.
interesting. I'm saying it's interesting.
Yes. And honey also, we do honey. So with the beeswax,
Okay.
we make soaps which don't have any chemicals, lip balms, with the beeswax.
Mm-hmm.
So we've tried like a lot, and we worked very hard. And fortunately, it's being very well received in the market. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you are into fragrances also, right?
Sorry?
You are into fragrances also. Fragrances.
Fragrance, yes. So fragrance, and so one is rose water, where it's 150-year-old process of distillation. So essentially, what it is, bhabka, where it's steam distillation, and that's how
Yeah,
the rose water is made.
yeah.
And so we don't add any chemicals or fertilizers. Oh, sorry, not fertilizers, but we don't add any chemicals to it,
Uh-huh.
and that is very good for your skin. It's edible also, Aparna. So because
Okay.
it's so pure.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we do oud, which is like a small roll-on kind of like a
yeah,
itra,
yeah.
basically.
It's
But we
yeah.
don't use chemicals, so the base we've kept as moisturizer.
Okay, okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So I can see your journey going into a different tangent totally. And then since because you come from a marketing background, so I'm sure this will add a lot of value to whatever you are doing. Because you've been into with this huge corporate and you've been into marketing with so many things. So you have that background of yours, which will help you taking the product to a different level altogether. Correct. So yes,
Yeah.
Shruti, it
So
was really, yeah.
I'm
Please
just
continue.
going to add one more thing, that sometimes when you hit rock bottom, you also realize maybe your true calling, in that difficult time. And when you have to make a decision which is not what you had thought for yourself in life, then you make it like a passion, right?
Yes,
And
right.
like a lot of people around me say that organic में तो पैसा है ही नहीं, आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो? So this is true. There's no money in organic. You have to be mad to be doing that kind of a thing. But it is so fulfilling, Apna.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and we are so passionate about it. It's just been a very fulfilling journey for us. And it's given me the right catharsis. Uh,
yeah.
so, yes, yeah.
That's really, uh, listening to you. I suppose people would be listening maybe right now or maybe later on. And it's so inspirational, the way you have come out and devised different strategies, to really take your business. See, you already had this Tirwa Farms. So now how you utilize it, that's the best option you have devised for that. So I think you are taking your business to a next level totally, and with the kind of passion and you have, I'm sure it will go to a great level. And really all the best, Shruti, to your
Thank you so much,
endeavors.
Aparna. Thank you
And I'm
so
sure you
much.
will
And
really shine, shine, shine very bright. Yeah, you will really
thank
shine
you.
very bright.
And I have to say that Womenshine is doing such a wonderful job. I'm deeply honored to be part of this.
Oh, thank you so
I'm
much.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
so much.
just that, this kind of awareness will help so many people. Aparna, you're doing a
Yeah,
wonderful,
of
wonderful
course.
job. So
Thanks a
thank you
lot.
so much for, all your help and support. And in creating this awareness, it's a wonderful thing you're doing.
And Womenshine will always help you in promoting your businesses here globally because it is a global magazine. So we will help you in doing that. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. I guess there was some sound problem at your end. Okay, anyways, thank you so much for watching this live broadcast of WS Live Talks. Thank you so much.